alcohol takes 48 to 72 hours to completely get out of your system. And while alcohol's in your system, your body does not metabolize any food. So for 48 to 72 hours, you're eating all of that food and your body is literally storing it. Where is it storing? Body fat. No wonder we're like gaining so much weight when we're drinking alcohol. I would ask myself, like, is it actually worth it for me to go another 72 hours without my body metabolizing any food? And most of the time, it just wasn't worth it to me.
What did you do about your eating situation once you got sober? I didn't realize this was such a huge concern, but you kind of do start trading the calories because you're craving them. So
Yeah.
we're going to get into that. I think you're going to have some great tips. Hey girl, you're listening to The Samantha Parker Show, an unhinged and insider look at the girl boss lifestyle. I'm like the best friend in your earbuds that you didn't know you've been craving. It's conversations from the girls' bathroom that are going to make you smile, inspire the hell out of you, and hype you up. You are not as crazy as you think. Life is a wild ride, and girl, I invented the roller coaster. So grab your favorite beverage and let's be unhinged together. So welcome to the show. Hey, my podcast and sober besties. I am so excited. I have something amazing to share with you. Sam's Sober Stack. Like many of you, I once believed sobriety was beyond my reach. Alcohol had tightly woven itself into my life, dictating actions and thoughts until I made a bold decision to reclaim control. Now I am proud to share my journey from battling hangovers and hidden struggles to achieving a sober life full of clarity and freedom. As your self-proclaimed sober bestie, I invite you to step into my world on Sober Stack, where I offer my unfiltered story and the valuable resources I've gathered along the way. Why subscribe to Sam's Sober Stack? Well, by subscribing, you'll gain access to weekly insights and updates on navigating sobriety, my exclusive 30-day printable sober journal, an engaging community where we can uplift and support each other, subscriber-only content to help enrich your journey, and of course, I'm spilling all the tea on what has worked for me, so you can implement some of these tools and resources into your own life. Sobriety doesn't have to be a solo journey. Let's share our stories, support one another, and inspire change together. Every new drop is conveniently delivered to your inbox, offering easy-to-navigate newsletter-type content filled with powerful insights geared towards your sober success. So let's do this together. Head over to thesamanthaparkershow.substack.com or go ahead and just click the link in the show notes. Now enjoy listening to this episode of The Samantha Parker Show. Hey guys, welcome back to The Samantha Parker Show. Today I've got an amazing guest on. This is Tehya or Tehya. That's a badass name, by the way.
Thank you.
Okay, where do you live?
I live in Austin, Texas.
Oh, Austin. It just recently snowed there, didn't it?
It did, and now it's 80 degrees outside.
Yeah, it's 70 here. I'm here for it.
That's insane. I'm here for it too. I laid by my pool the other day. It was so nice.
You did?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm
Bathing
jealous.
suit and all. I know. It was so amazing.
Okay, but this weather, like when we get the springtime weather, I don't want to work. I don't know what I want to do, but it's like, I just want to like drive around with my windows down.
I want to be a spineless jellyfish and just like do whatever I want.
Yeah, it's like, it's spring. I want to like hook up and like hang out.
Yeah. Sit outside, like enjoy the nice weather. Like it's the perfect weather to just like sit outside and do absolutely nothing.
Okay, so let's get into this here. You are a health and fitness coach, like, or what would you like really give yourself the title of?
Yeah. So I have a couple different hats that I wear. So health and fitness coach for sure for 4 years now. And I'm also a life coach as well. I just started doing that recently. So a couple different venues there.
Yeah, I did stalk your Instagram, so I was really like vibing with you. I'm like, this is a cool girl.
Thank you.
Okay, but I invited you on the podcast because we're going to talk about your sobriety story. And then for those of you guys who are listening, a big question I get asked is like, what did you do about your eating situation once you got sober? And I was like, I didn't realize this was such a huge concern, but you kind of do start trading the calories because you're craving them. So
Yeah.
we're going to get into that. I think you're going to have some great tips. I'm excited. You talk a lot about things that like really align with me. So I think, you guys listening, I really do think you're going to enjoy this episode. So let me give you a little bit of backstory because you like gave me a backstory. I was like, damn. But it kind of looks like, I wouldn't say you've had a hard life, but you've probably definitely like built yourself from the ground up.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say that.
Yeah. So you started drinking at 13 and smoking weed. And this is what I thought was wild, is you said your mom would buy you vodka.
Yes. Handles of vodka.
That's wild.
I want
I My parents would always say, like, if you want to have a beer, like, have a beer, like they were trying not to make it a big deal, but I never was really into it. I didn't start drinking actually until I moved in with my dad at 17.
Oh, really?
Hmm. And I was definitely not getting it from my dad. But yeah, I
Yeah.
grew up like alcohol was everywhere.
Right. Of course. Normal.
Yeah. So at 13, though, your mom would buy you vodka.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you do you
She
care if
would
I
rather
ask?
me, yeah, she would rather me drink at home than go out and drink, is what her like idea was. So if I was going to drink, she would rather me drink at home than go out and get, messed up and end up in like an accident or something crazy.
Dude, I don't know. At 13, like I would fucking kick your ass.
Well, I know, right? Now that I'm a parent, I'm like, I look at my little brother and he's 13, and I'm like, I couldn't even imagine him drinking at all, let alone
Yeah.
vodka.
Yeah, I have a 13-year-old son and I would completely lose my marbles.
Yeah, right. Insane.
Yeah, my 18-year-old daughter, like when we were in Mexico, she had a drinking moment, but she was like legally going to the bar and getting them, and I was like, no, we're not doing this.
I know, right?
Yeah. But okay, so you were drunk, you were blacking out at the age of 13.
Yes. Yeah, very much so.
Okay, so you felt like right off the bat, though, that alcohol was a problem for you.
No, I didn't realize it for years and years. Like I was just like fitting in with the crowd. Like I naturally hung out with a lot of older people in my town. And then I had moved towns to a really, really small town. And that's all everyone did because there was no Walmart parking lot to go hang out in. So like everyone was hanging out with the older people. I got in with the older crowd, going to their parties at their houses because people had apartments and stuff. And I didn't realize it was a problem until just like 2 years ago, really.
I think that I just kind of thought it was normal. Like all this stuff was normal, or even like being like, oh, I've got a hangover today, and you're like, oh, that sucks. Like, suck it up, we're working. But now that I'm like away from alcohol and like I always just say, like, the further away you get, like all of a sudden your perception changes. And I'm like, that's not normal at all.
Yeah, I think your eyes just like start to open a little bit more of like how much it actually affects every single aspect of your life the further that you get away from it. And like you hear other people talking about it too. And then you think like they don't even realize how much it's affecting them too. Cause it's just so normal. Like it's the one thing that is so normalized to everyone.
It really is. And what's interesting now is like there's just like close people in my life, let's just say that. And they'll be like talking to me and I want to be like, you're an alcoholic, right? But it's like you can't I feel like it has to be a journey of self-discovery.
Yeah, no, like they have to discover it on their own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just like I'm out here just like blasting my shit on the internet. I can be an example or you can go ahead and mute me like whatever.
Yeah, like that's fine. I'm still gonna talk about it.
Yeah, okay, so then you kind of like obviously you grew up, you got married, and then you and your is it your ex-husband?
Yeah.
Do you like how I have this little timeline of events
I
of you?
know, right? I love that.
So you and your ex-husband would drink too, and then you got divorced or you split up, and then you told me that in April of 2023 you got a DUI and you went to jail.
Yes.
Was that awful? I've never got a DUI. I've deserved a lot of DUIs. I'm not it's not like a proud thing to say.
Same. Yeah. Honestly, like I and not a proud thing to say either. Like I've have been drunk driving for years and years and years. And like there are times where I was way worse and should have gotten a DUI, or should have been an accident. And I'm so grateful that that didn't happen, but it was a huge eye opener for me sitting in a jail cell because both my parents have been in prison, and my mom, well, both of them, just countless, arrests. My mom has like 3 DUIs. My aunt has like 3 DUIs also. So it's just like so common in my family. And like I have always vowed, I'm like a black sheep in my family. I've always been like, I will not end up like them. Like, I will do everything in my power to just not end up like them and be so far from that statistic that I should have been. And sitting in that jail cell with all of those people that did deserve to be there. I mean, I deserve to be there too. I was drunk
Yeah,
driving.
no, totally.
But like, I'm like, I do not belong here. And that was such an eye opener. And yes, it was like the worst experience of my entire life.
So, okay, but so you go to jail, you get out, it like costs you a shitload of money, and then you said you like drink again. I feel like this is something I would have done too, like a few years ago. I'd have been like, I'll be more careful, shame on me.
Yeah. I did have like a huge like wake up moment because that year in general, I was like, oh, I'm just going to do it on occasion. And like it was an on occasion thing because at this time I lived about an hour and a half north of Austin and there's not shit to do there. Like no one's really, unless we're like having a little house soiree, like no one's really doing anything. There's not like bars or anything. So it was only when I came down to Austin and I hated driving to Austin. And because that meant like I would have to get a hotel or stay with someone, and I didn't like doing that. So it was like an occasion thing. And it was me and my old roommate. We came down, went to a comedy show, and that happened. What's crazy is I actually paid for a hotel that night and ended up driving home anyway because I forgot because I was so drunk because
Oh
I
my
forgot
gosh,
that I,
that's
yeah,
awful.
I know. Yeah, it was bad. So then I was like, okay, like it's going to be like, it took me a long time to drink again, don't get me wrong, but I ended up drinking again eventually. And I had two more instances where I drank again. One of them was me coming down to Austin with this girl that just likes to get blackout drunk. And I had my best friend in town. And then this guy that I am actually dating now, he came out with us and he used to be a big drinker, but hadn't really drank at all. And I got so freaking drunk that night because people were like pouring liquor into my mouth. Like I was taking shots off the bottle, just like shit that I used to do. And it's like, hey, you don't drink like that anymore. Like you can't do that. End up getting blackout drunk, made a huge freaking fool of myself per usual. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then I didn't drink at all until I went to my middle school best friend's bachelorette party back home. And these are people that like I haven't seen in like years and years and years. Like I moved across, I moved from Iowa to Texas, completely restart my life. These people just see me on social media like thriving, and then I go back home and I just like I do it again, like make a freaking fool out of myself. And I was like, I'm done. Like I was done drinking. And then I went to a business retreat with my business coach and I had a margarita. And that was like my official sober date was after that. So November 11th, 2023 was my official sober day.
That's incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't even think about it. Like, I don't even want it. There was a friend of mine that I'm really not friends with much anymore. He was like, you'll do it. You'll drink again eventually. And I was just like, that was such a rude comment to make because I was like, no, I won't. Like, I don't want to.
I've had a lot of people make comments like that to me, like people who I actually like really looked up to and admired. And I had this one lady who was like, I went to AA for several years. She was telling me about how she used to have a drinking problem. And she's like, now I just have a few drinks here and there. She's like, you'll get to that point. And I'm like, that's a dangerous thing to tell people.
I know, right? It's like, I feel like that's so disrespectful. It'd be like, good for you. Like, you should be like, good for you. Like, hell yeah, stay on that sober journey. But you're like, nah, you'll drink again.
Yeah, I'm like, I think what people don't understand is like, it's not like that, you know? I could go out to dinner today and only have 2 drinks. I absolutely could. But
Yeah.
then it's like the weekend, and it might even take a few months. But it's like for me, that slippery slope is there because I've already done this. We've done this before.
Yeah. How long have
So,
you
what?
how long have you been sober?
8 months, so not super long.
That's a long time.
Yeah, I like the first few months are like it's like a snail, you know? So it feels like a long ass time.
That is an incredible amount of time though. I love that.
Yeah, it took me 8 weeks to even like talk about it. Like I say I went ghost. I totally just like disappeared.
Yeah. Sometimes that's what you have to do though, like cold turkey, like
Mhm.
out of here. Yeah. And disconnect from the people like that you normally drink around too, or that like make you drink more,
I just
that
didn't want anyone's opinion. It was because I tried to get sober in 2020 and I'd already done this and I had, I thought people would be really excited for me. And I remember there was just a lot of like backhanded comments and I was like, I'm not going to deal with this.
yeah. Yeah.
So that's the space I was in. And I was also in the space of like, I suck, blah, 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 which is so interesting now.
Yeah. But you made it. That's the biggest thing. It's like getting past that like fear of people judging you for that too. I feel like there is a huge like judgment persona against that too. Like people are like, the comments that they make, like, why aren't you drinking? I got that one time and I fired back with, why are you drinking? So like there people just always make, those backhanded comments about and try to like judge you or make you feel like you're weird for not
Yeah.
drinking.
So that is like an absolutely real thing. It's like you will have those people, and then you'll also have the people that like are so freaking proud of you, and then you'll also have the people that are like, "Hey, like I see what's happening in your life. Like I could use some of that." So
Yeah.
it's worth not staying quiet about for me.
Oh, for sure. I've had so many of my fitness clients get sober because of that, just because of like the education that I've put out about it, or like, helping them realize that like, when you are on a weight loss journey, like how it affects you in that sense too. So yeah, I think it's a great thing to talk about it. And I think it's a good thing that we're normalizing it. Like it's okay to do that.
So the question I get a lot is like, how did you stop drinking? And it's usually a DM from someone who's in a shitty spot. They're like, how did you do it? I don't know what to do. Like, how do you answer that?
Ooh, that's such a good question. I think weighing out the pros and the cons. This is what I tell people when they ask me this, because there's no pros. There's absolutely no pros to it. People look at pros as like, oh, well, it helps me let loose, or it helps me like socialize, or like it's just what me and my friends do to have fun. And I think that if you can look at the pros versus the cons and realize that those people that you have to drink around in order to have fun are probably going to continue to do that as their way of having fun for the rest of their lives. And also, if you have to use alcohol to like let loose and have fun, like that's something more internal that you have to work on and like overcome. Like alcohol shouldn't be like a crutch for you to just be yourself, right? Like there's probably like a mask that they're trying to hide, and then they need to like use alcohol as a way of like being their authentic self because they fear being judged being their authentic self when they're sober.
That's actually a really powerful statement that there are no pros.
There are. There are none. I mean, if you look at all the cons with just the long-term side effects, short-term and long-term side effects. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I mean, you turn into someone that you're not. It affects your metabolism, it affects your hormones, it affects your sleep, it affects your well-being in general. Plus, you look at all the diseases that it's linked to, cancer, like so many liver disease, like there's so many deathly diseases, and people don't research that because it's so normal to drink.
Yeah,
If someone like really wants to get sober, write out a list of the pros and the cons.
that's okay. Hold on. We're going to take it. No. That was I don't know why I've never thought of that. When you said that, I was like, she's fucking right. There's not a single pro, you
There's
know?
not. Yeah. Yeah, you
Okay.
can have fun without alcohol 100%. And it just takes that strong willpower to get through the first couple times of like going out and having fun without the alcohol. And it's really like you sticking to your boundary and the goal that you have. And if this means a lot to you to be sober, then it's just, setting those boundaries with people that are close to you, anyways. But like once you realize like you can go out and have fun without drinking, or like mocktail galore, like every single restaurant has a mocktail or can make you a mocktail. Once you like actually educate yourself on like the negative effects of alcohol, then like why wouldn't you just want a mocktail? Because you're going to be thinking about that. Like when I found out the effects that alcohol has on your metabolism, I was like in my really deep in my fitness journey, and the fact that I found out is that alcohol takes 48 to 72 hours to completely get out of your system. And while alcohol's in your system, your body does not metabolize any food. So for 48 to 72 hours, you're eating all of that food and your body is literally storing it. Where is it storing? Body fat. It's like no wonder we're like gaining so much weight when we're, drinking alcohol. And so that like that fact never left my mind. So every single time I would want to drink, when I went into my occasional drinking phase, I would ask myself, like, is it actually worth it for me to go another 72 hours without my body, metabolizing any food? And like most of the time it just wasn't worth it to me.
Have you heard me talk about my whole thing about how I was lying to my fitness coach about my alcohol?
No.
So, because I would do everything right. Like I am like high functioning. I am the poster child for a high functioning alcoholic. I was doing all of the workouts. I was turning in all my macros to her and was not losing weight. Initially, I lost like 10 pounds, right? But I would be like, oh, I just had a vodka soda. I'm like, fucking liar. and she was like, I was weird. It was a really like I kind of started to get into like a dynamic of like, well, this isn't working. And she's like, well, I don't know what you're doing. And I was like, I think I just need to take a break. But I've been working with her for like probably like 8 months.
Oh, wow.
And then like a month later, I was like, turns out I have an alcohol problem.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it was like this whole thing. I'm like, I owe poor Ashley, I owe her an apology. So
Oh
this
my
is
God. I need to
I should
check
put
on
her on my amends list.
I need to go like investigate on my clients now. Which one of you is lying about your alcohol consumption?
Yeah, and ultimately, like, we had stopped working together mostly because our contract was up or whatever. But yeah, I it was funny. I found running about a month before my sobriety journey, and I think that was like God or whoever you believe in stepping in and being like, "You're gonna need this." So, I
Oh,
run, I lift my weights, but the inflammation goes away. It's like it just literally my face isn't even the same shape.
your face. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm
That's
like,
crazy.
since you're a health coach, I was like, "Yep, your clients will lie to you, okay?"
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna go investigate. I actually just added a question on my client check-ins of how many alcoholic drinks they've consumed in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, but
So
I would say, I would put on there, I'd be like, "Oh, probably 3 or 4." Like,
yes, 10.
I'm all 30, you know?
Interesting. I love that. I'm done.
So, were you already, like, on, like, a health and fitness I don't wanna call it a journey because I think health and fitness should be more like I guess it is a journey, like, in life, we're on a journey,
Yeah.
but were you into health and fitness, or did this kinda come about through sobriety?
Yeah, so I've been on my health and fitness journey since like 2016. I joined the military fresh out of high school, and then I was in the best shape of my life. And because I was running, of course, like 8 miles like every other day.
Okay, wait, hold
And,
on, what branch were you in?
Army National Guard.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was long lived. I served 8 years in the National Guard,
That's
but
incredible. My husband just retired 20 years from the army.
oh my gosh, really? Good for him. I would not be able to do that. Too much for me. Yeah, but I mean, they get you in good shape for the most part when you're in like the training phase. But
Yeah,
then,
well, yeah.
you come back home and you get a little too comfortable. And I actually gained like 30 pounds within like probably like 6 months. I was super depressed being back home and I was working at a gas station, like eating like absolute garbage. So I gained weight super, super quick. And I was still binge drinking then, of course. I was restricting during the week, binge drinking and eating on the weekends. And so, yeah, that started in like 2016. I never really like started to actually lose weight until about 2020 when like COVID hit and I got married. Well, I met my husband and then we moved to Georgia. And then that is when I was like, okay, this is my official like reset again. But we were drinking really, really heavily. But then I started to actually like find macros and like calorie deficits, energy in, energy out. Like I really started to do a lot of research and became really serious about it because I had no friends and the gym was like my only scapegoat there. So I finally lost the weight, got in really good shape, but we were still drinking very crazy because he has an alcohol problem. And so it wasn't until like I came back to Texas to where I was like, okay, I think I have an alcohol problem. Like
Yeah.
after I like left him, I'm like that this is a big problem. Yeah.
And so how long have you been a health coach though? Did this like overlap at all?
Yeah, so I became a health coach shortly after I like actually started to like figure it out and like
Yeah.
learn all of the like how easy it actually is. So I started that in 2021.
See,
So
I
I
think there's like a direct connection, between like now I'm like running races and it's like between sobriety and like because you're like, dude, I feel so good. Like I bet I could feel better.
yeah, yeah. I think it's also kind of like an escape too. Whereas
Mhm.
like, instead of going out on a Friday night, let me go to the gym,
Yeah,
you know?
no, absolutely. And I will trade habits for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I don't care. Um, all right, so let's talk about, eating. So when you first get sober, the cravings are real. Did you have like cravings?
No, I've
No.
never really had cravings.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say like you didn't have any sugar cravings.
I don't think so. Not that I really remember.
Yeah, I wouldn't say mine were super bad, but I was like at the point where before I would have been, I was restricting like cookies or anything I wanted because I was, trying to put myself in this box. And then I kind of just came out of it was like, yeah, like I'm craving sugar and I'm like, if I'm gonna eat the fucking cookie if I want the cookie, you know?
Yeah. 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 I've always kind of had like a balanced mindset also. Well, not always when I actually started to create like a healthy, sustainable lifestyle. Cause I went through all the dieting shit, the restrictive dieting, keto, intermittent fasting,
Yeah, I saw
literally
you said you
everything.
did a 72-hour fast.
Yes. Yes. Crazy stuff. I would do anything to lose weight, like a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so once I like discovered macros, that really helped me like fit in the balance of like, oh, I can eat the cookie if it fits in my macros. And like I'm not overeating by eating this cookie. So like I can go out to eat, I can eat like Chick-fil-A and I can eat, the foods that I want if I can fit them in my macros. And so that really helped me with not restricting when I got sober too, because I already like built that mindset up that I could like eat a balanced diet. So I think that helped a lot because I never like felt guilty for it, or I was like, if I wanted something, I would eat it.
Yeah, I do see a lot of people, and this is a lot just like from my like sober community, like the comments I get on TikTok is they're like, well, what are you doing about everything that you're eating? And I was like, well, I really got into Swedish fish and I just pop a couple of those. And if I wanted the cookie, I'd eat the fucking cookie. I was having an emotional like meltdown, you know?
Yeah, right. I mean, it's better than like the opposite of like going and drinking, right? And like
Yeah,
loading
that's where I
up
was
on all
at.
those calories. It's like, at least it can be a temporary thing, but as long as you're not like relying on it for like emotional, like for the long run.
Yeah, so I really the first like 30 days I definitely was like I'll eat whatever I want, like I'm just getting through this. If I want it, I want it. And then after that I was like, okay, like I want to like feel really good and help my body. And so I kind of switched. Like what do you recommend for people as they're like coming out of that phase? Like how can we like help to start repair our bodies?
Yeah, I think number one, like your energy and your like mental clarity and like your just functioning in general has so much to do with what you're putting in your body anyways. So like if you like feel sluggish, you're super low on energy, you're super tired, a lot of that comes down to like not nourishing and fueling your body properly anyways. So I think that like when you get sober, it's the perfect time to actually like start caring about your body because you're probably getting sober because you actually want to like love and respect your body and like you're recognizing the damages that it's doing to your body. So like going all in on just like learning how to nourish your body properly, making sure you're eating enough and not restricting yourself is like the number one tip that I can give because that is going to play a huge part in like your cravings too. A lot of times when you are restricting yourself, the more you restrict, or like, if you're going all day without eating and then at night you're like binging on a big meal, like that's going to have your hunger cues going up and down, right? And then your cravings are going to be crazy too. So just making sure you're consistently fueling your body throughout the day too, making sure you are getting in like good nourishing foods. Again, it's a really good time to just like nourish and love and care for your body because like it needs that, especially for like years and years and years of alcohol consumption. It needs the nourishment. So actually incorporating like fruits and vegetables into your diet in some way, shape, or form. Even if you can fit like a banana, start there. Like start with just like something, adding some sort of color to your diet. I think that's huge. That's also natural sugar. You can also just like play around with different kind of like snacks and stuff. Like, I always pair it with something that I want. Like if I want some ice cream, then I'm going to add strawberries because that's something that I need. So something I want with something that I need. So nourishing your body enough and then incorporating balance in there. I would say
Oh, I
those two.
like that. Yeah. You know what I'm really happy you didn't mention and you'll probably hate me? Protein. I don't know why, but I'm like, if I see another video that starts with, here's a high protein, and I'm like, you're just eating a normal meal. Like, why is it like, I just am so over
Yeah.
praise. And I do realize like protein's important and I put my protein first, but I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, you know what's so crazy is like hearing you say that, I feel like protein is so overhyped when you know that protein's important. You're like, oh my gosh, like we get it. But I have a lot of clients that come in that like don't eat any protein, that are like 50 grams or less than protein. I definitely think that here's a high protein meal is like, okay, we don't need to be eating high protein meals. We just need like protein in general. But the amount of people that don't consume protein or know that they should have it is, and that plays a huge part in your cravings too. But I wouldn't say that's the most important thing to pay attention to when you're getting sober.
Yeah, so thank you. I just appreciated that. I was like waiting for you to be like high protein, high protein. And those videos too, that's like they take something where I'm like, oh, that looks yummy, and then they like dump a tub of cottage cheese in it. And I was like,
Oh
well,
my
that's intriguing.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I was in that phase for so long, but like I feel like once you learn how to feel your body too, and this is something that I say all the time, it's someone no one can take that away from you. Like learning that knowledge too. So like you can just learn how to feel your body and like set yourself up for life for that.
I know this morning I had a long run, and so I was like starving, and I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna have 2 eggs, 2 turkey sausages, and my English muffin. But it's like, you would see that online and they're like, it's high protein. I'm like, oh, I don't know why. I'm just like, I'm over it.
Yeah. It's like no, it's just normal.
It's just normal, guys. Like, I needed this.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I love that you have the knowledge on that too, because I feel like that really helps, especially when you have like those goals that you're aiming for and just to make you feel good too. That plays such a big role.
Yes. Okay, so oh, I loved this. Okay, what's your Instagram and your TikTok handle?
Okay, so my Instagram handle is Coach Tehya, Tehya. My Instagram or my TikTok handle is official dot Teh.
Okay, awesome. But do you post kind of the same type of content? Because I only looked at you on Instagram.
I post more of just like the real unfiltered life shit on TikTok.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Me too. I'm
Yeah.
like, please, and of- I mean, I'm a social media manager for a living, so I make content for other clients, but I'm like, please record that in your car. They're like, for reals?
Yeah.
But I loved, anyways, my whole point was I loved on Instagram, you were talking about how no one is coming to save you, and you were like, get up. I love that because I think even in sobriety, like nobody was holding a gun to my head.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had to do it for myself.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. And I feel like any journey that you're on, whether it's, your sobriety journey, whether it's your fitness journey, whether it's your entrepreneurial journey, your content journey, like whatever journey you're on, I feel like it's like people wait for the perfect time and like years and years and years pass and like they just stay the exact same. And like, I really look back at some of the people that I used to be friends with or like some of the people that I graduated with. And I just think like, they want to change. And I hear this all the time in the health industry as well. It's like a lot of people want to change, but they're not willing to do it. It's really easy to say you want to be sober. It's easy to say you want to lose weight. It's easy to say you want to start this side hustle, but like you're not taking any action. I feel like a lot of people are like, talk, like I want to do this, like it'd be nice to do this, but they never hold themselves accountable to it. And I think that a lot of people just need to be reminded that like this is your life. No one is forcing you to do anything. And until you actually take the reins and take control, like your life will be the exact same.
No, that, and then also, like, you have to change the people you're around, and I loved you had a story. You guys just need to go watch her Instagram reels. I was, like, motivated. I was like, "You're a chiller version of David Goggins."
Oh, I love it.
I was here for it. But you were talking about how you have to be the product of those around you, and the example you gave was about smoking cigarettes, and I was like, that just, like, was when you just have those blatantly obvious examples, and I'm like, "Why didn't I think of that?"
Yeah.
But
I love
essentially what you were saying was, you had a friend that smoked cigarettes. Well, tell the story. I'll let you tell
that.
it.
Yeah. So I was just like a rebellious teenager. Obviously, I started drinking when I was 13 and smoking weed when I was 13. Like I was in a town that like that was normal and I just got in the wrong crowd. And I had a best friend when I was like 12, 13, and she smoked cigarettes. And I thought, like, I'll just stick to the weed. I'm not going to smoke the cigarettes. And my mom, of course, didn't know about the weed because that was like a huge no. And so I was hanging around her, and my mom, she was always at my house. And my mom would see her smoke, and obviously my mom's not going to tell her like she can't smoke, but she would. Like my mom's the like she's everyone's mom, you know, like everyone just likes her. And she would give her shit. And then my mom was like, Taya, if you're going to hang around Maddie and she's smoking, you're eventually going to smoke. And I'm like, I'm not going to smoke. Like, that's disgusting. And my mom says, if you're in the barbershop long enough, you're bound to get a haircut. And I'm like, no, mom, I'm not going to smoke. That's disgusting. And sure enough, I started smoking. Yeah.
I mean, I was like, well, yeah, we knew where this was going, but
Yeah. If you're in the barbershop long enough, you're bound to get a haircut.
right? But I think it's a great life lesson to think about a lot of things. And I mean, I'm going to be 40 this month, and I wish that I would have been like, "What are you doing?" You know. And even now, and it's been part of like my sobriety, and I work the steps and things. But I'm really like noticing where I was like apologizing to people, and I'm like, actually, those are shitty people. Like, thank you for the lessons, and maybe we agreed upon it in a past life, but I'm like, why was I trying to get them in my circle? And now I'm like looking at things differently.
Yeah. Yeah. I think your third eye opens. That's what
A
I like.
little.
To see. Yeah. I feel like my whole, ever since I like cut alcohol completely out, I feel like I have just been like, like woke, you know? Like I feel like I have like actually started looking at the world and started like actually like just looking at things differently and people differently and situations differently. And like I feel like the people that I used to hang around are definitely like you said, like you look at them and you're like, that was a past life. Like, you know, and it feels good to be able to actually make that decision to know that like it doesn't align with you anymore. I feel like a lot of people struggle with that though, when they do want to get sober, but all their friends still drink and they don't want to cut their friends out. But sometimes like you outgrow people, like you want to become this new version of yourself, but the people that you're hanging around are still with that past version of you.
But you know what's also been super awesome is some of my, like, really good friends, and some of them are, like, family, like, we're related. I am so close to them now, and they were the ones that I was the most worried about because, they drink, we go camping, and, like, we go on all these trips together, and I was like, "They're gonna, like, not they're gonna cut us out, like, we're gonna get cut out." And they have been so amazing. Like, I've literally cried multiple times because they're like, "Oh my gosh, we're so happy, look at you," you know? And
Yeah.
so it shit surprises you too.
Yeah. Yeah. You'd be surprised with who like actually supports you. I feel like I'm not close with my family whatsoever, so I never really like I'm getting a little bit more close with them now that I'm like getting older and like my brothers are back home, but I've never really like had extreme support in it. It's kind of been neutral. Like I haven't like not really had people supporting me, but haven't really like been encouraged to go the route.
Yeah, I know my mom, she, like, doesn't say it in person, but, like, she'll comment on my Instagram post. She's like, "So proud of you," you know? And I'm like, "That works, that works."
That's fine. I love that.
Yeah, it was actually kind of fun. My parents were never together, so, like, my dad was down here where I live a little while ago, and he's like, "Can we record a podcast together?" And he's like, "You can say no," and I was like, "Dude, I would love to," and it was so much fun.
Oh, I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah, and he was like, "We're so proud of you," and I was like, "I needed that."
Oh, for you.
Yeah, so it's funny where, like, the support shows up, but what's interesting is the people that I thought were gonna be, like, my ride or dies, they were out, and that's where I had to recognize that that was also me, you know? Like, I had put myself in that bubble when really I had this whole amazing life, like, just right next to me.
Yeah, yeah. I think you like choose, you know, it's like you give up things to be able to have a different life. You have to give up people, places, and things in order to like really enjoy the life that you actually want. It's going to come at a cost.
Yeah. So, okay, I wanna say thank you so much for your time. We will make sure that we have you linked up. I think working with a health coach is amazing if you're an honest individual.
Yeah, and please tell the truth about your alcohol consumption.
I was lying to myself though, so it was like I had, like, Delulu, you know? It wasn't anything, like, malicious. It was, like, Delulu at its finest. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
but working with a health coach really helped me because, again, it wasn't I'd worked with fitness trainers in the past, and they had me down to 1,200 calories and I think that shit's just different now. So, if you need help It sounds like you do macros and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all of it. I mainly help people who have yo-yo dieted for years on end and they just want to build a healthy and sustainable lifestyle.
Yeah. And just from watching you and your demeanor and everything, I can tell that like you're the real deal. So thank you.
Thank
Um,
you.
okay, this is my last question though. What's the 444 tattoo?
Oh, that is me and my best friends, for better, for worse, for life.
Okay, I love that. You know, when you were messaging me, your message was like 444 long and like 4 minutes and 44 seconds. And
Oh,
I like, because I pick up on numbers, like it's just a thing I have, you know? And then I saw it on your form and I was like, how interesting.
oh my gosh, that's so funny.
You can
Yeah,
go look, it's in there, it's in our DMs.
I love that.
But anyways, thanks for being on the podcast and it was great to meet you. And thank you guys for listening.
Thank you.